Welcome back to the President's Cup 9-hole cup. Expert division qualifying round hole number 6. Here we're going to be playing a Guardian backspin shot using a Kingmaker. APOC 5 plus, Guardian 8 plus. The adjustment for the drive is P3 plus 0%. Max numbers, so no elevation, max numbers, max P3 numbers. Spin set is 5 top, 3 left. We're going to use APOC 5 left curl and play in full controlled overpower. So no push up here. APOC 5 and 6, you'll set up with 2/3 of the red ring in the left rough at P3 max rest. APOC 7, you have 1/3 of the red ring in the left rough at P3 max rest. APOC 8 will be red ring touching the left rough at P3 max rest. Adjust, do not push up. Play full overpower with APOC 5 left curl, and that means the center line will be touching the outside of the triangle to the left, just like you see there. Here's what I'll tell you. There is a more crosswind angle on this drive that gives you more wind push. And so I have hit great rights here. Great lefts are safe. Great rights are safe, but in the crosswind angle and with a heavy wind, say you get a 9.1 wind and you have the more crosswind angle, great right will probably not be safe. So here's what I'll tell you. If you're playing with APOC 6, 7, or 8, add a little more curl. Play it with max curl. You'll be fine with max curl, right? If you're playing with APOC 5 and you're a great right hitter, then what I would do is shift a half a ring to the left and give yourself a little bit more room just in case you get that crosswind angle. But you don't want to shift too far left because then great lefts won't be safe, right? So it's actually better to run into the rough on the right long than it is to hit your first bounce on the rough and come up short. Because even if you roll into the rough at the end of your drive, you can still reach up to the green for an easy eagle, so you don't get hosed. So be careful. Don't shift too far to the left. We already saw this. Let's go to the approach. So that's P3, 0%, max numbers, 5 top, 3 left. Add a little curl if you have it. We'll make it a little bit more great right friendly. Like I said, I have hit great rights, and I've had the crosswind. It comes close and not in for me, but I'm using APOC 8. So if you have APOC 5 and 6, that single great right might not be, you might not be as lucky as I was, right? So just keep that in mind. But it is controlled overpower, and you can use a higher power ball if you want to slow down that needle even further, right? So if you were paying attention, I did a white ring pin check here. Top of the white ring touching the pin, give you a plus yard. That plus yard is going to correlate to a slider number. Plus 12 is 88, plus 11, 85, plus 10 is 82, plus 9 is 79 slider. 8 is 76, plus 7 is 73, plus 6 is 70, plus 5 is 67, 4 is 64, plus 3 is 61, plus 2 59, plus 1 is 56, 0 is 53. We're setting up with max backspin only. The adjustment for this shot is power 4 numbers, 0 elevation at slider. Power 4, no elevation. So with max backspin only, this is what I'm looking for. I want the right side of my ball guide to be touching the line, one line left of the pin. See that line runs right up here, and the right side of my ball guide is basically touching that line right there. I also want the bottom of my ball guide to split the row that the hole is in, right? So up, down, you want it to split down the middle, and then you want the right side touching. It's pretty simple setup. That's with spins added. That's what you want it to look like, right? It's maybe a touch high here, but better to be a touch high with your setup than a touch low. All right. That's the standard position. So there are wind strength tweaks, and there's one wind angle that you need to pay attention to. So wind strength tweaks are as follows. If your wind is 7 to 7.5, there's no change. 7.6 to 8.0, you'll add 0.1 to your adjustment. 8.1 to 8.5, add 0.2 to the adjustment. 8.6 to 9.1, add 0.3 to the adjustment. Right? Higher wind, you get more wind push to the right. There's a couple of other things that you need to look for. And that is if you're set up at the +5 or higher, so you do your white ring check. If it is +5 or higher when you do your top of the white ring check, then you'll add an additional 0.2 to that chart that I just gave you, the wind strength tweaks, right? So then 7.0 to 7.5 becomes add 0.1. 7.6 to 8.0 becomes add 0.3, right? That's if you're +5 or higher with your white ring check. Also, if you have the crosswind, you need to do the same thing. Crosswind, you'll add an additional 0.2 to the chart. Same as if you're set up at the +5. So if you're crosswind, you'll add the 0.2. If you're +5 or higher, you add 0.2. If you have both crosswind and you're at the +5 or higher, then you'll add an additional 0.3 to the chart instead of 0.2. And here's your wind angles real quick. If you look at this sign here, what I'm looking at is the shadow that the sign casts. If you are in that shadow, not the light part in the end, but the dark part, about a ring off, or to the left, that's the crosswind angle. Anything to the right is good. So if you're in the shadow, the hard part of the shadow, not the little light shit on the side, right? There or left, crosswind, and that's when you need to add an additional 0.2. And if you're +5 or higher and you have that, add an additional 0.3 to the adjustment. It sounds like a lot, but it's not really that complicated. They're minor tweaks. You're either going to add a little bit to your adjustment or you're not, depending on your wind angle, right? So practice this one a couple times, a really good chance at getting a drop here for the Albatross with a free-to-play Kingmaker, right? No overpower, no curl. Pull straight, hit perfect. What I'll tell you is it's straight. If anything, you might favor a 1201 flicker versus an 1159 flicker. All right? But ideally, as straight as possible. Practice this a couple times. You should be hopefully walking away with an Albatross. Good luck. Hope you get the drop, and I'll see you on the next hole.